Hello, hello. Welcome to the Maker Studio Facebook page. I am Cheryl. I create over on the Home of My Making page, and I've been asked to debut a new stencil today. So this is a gorgeous stencil, and it's huge with a lot of different intricate little stencils. So this stencil is called Turkey Feast. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? We got a pumpkin with a wreath going around it. Then we have the words thankful, grateful, and blessed, a leaf, a turkey, and some wheat. And then down here it says, what are you thankful for today? With some added little leaf embellishments. So I love big stencils like this because you can get so many projects out of it. So as you hop on, let us know where you're watching from. And don't forget to tag 3 friends so you can be in the drawing for the giveaway of this stencil. So let me go ahead. I'm going to cut it. So there are cut lines on most of the stencils that are not to be used in a whole piece. So these little lines here are for cutting. So that is the first thing I'm going to do. So that's one stencil. You could also use each of these little words individually, the thankful, grateful, and blessed, or you could use them all together. And the same with the turkey, the leaf, and the wheat. So there's a lot going on in this stencil, a real lot. So let me just get them all separated, and then we'll continue with the project. So I got this Lazy Susan at Target for $5. And it comes with its own turntable. You don't have to add it. So what I'm going to do with this today is I'm going to take some of our gel stain in the Amy Howard at Home brand. You could find that up in the catalog of the Maker Studio. Also, I'm going to put it in a little container so I can work better out of the little container. And I'm going to apply it with a foam brush. Also, you could find on the Maker Studio website. So I'm going to dip it, and I'm only going to do the surface. I'm not going to do the sides. Now I could have very well have kept this, the surface, the color that it is, but I think this stain adds a little bit more richness to the color of the original board. As you can see, it brings out all of the wood grain, and it's super fun. So I'm only going to do the top surface. I'm not even going to bring it down to the sides. And it even spins. This is a really good surface if you can find them at your Target dollar spot. They have so many great little additions to their dollar spot now. I think they're on to all of us creatives. I think they're on to us. They know we're using it. So what I'm doing is I'm just applying just a coat to top the whole thing off. And then I'm going to just take a lint-free rag and go back and go over the top. Also, I do have a water bath here. That's where all my little stencils are going to go and everything that I use, because everything's rewashable and reusable. So I'm just going to take a lint-free rag and I'm going to go over the top surface just to remove the excess. And this stain really showed the grain off on this surface more so than the color that they had on there. So let me just do that again. I'm just going to go over and remove any of the excess stain. I am going to hit this with a dryer. Now, normally you could wait 20 to 30 minutes in between, the stain drying, but to proceed with a stencil on top, make sure it's dry. So for the sake of a live, I'm going to hit it with a heat gun. So if you're just popping on, we debuted this Turkey Feast stencil with all of these little stencils, and I'll show it to you again. And I took a Target dollar spot surface that's a Lazy Susan that I got for $5. and we're going to kick it up a notch with some Maker Studio products. I did go ahead and stain it with my favorite gel stain, which is the English Walnut. One coat, then I took a lint-free rag and I just took off the excess, and it showed all of the wood grain so much better than the original stain that was on there. And if you noticed, I didn't even have to prep the board for that. So I definitely want this dry to proceed with the next step. Again, I got these at the Target dollar spot for $5. I think that's a great deal. Especially that the mechanism on the bottom already comes with it. So paired with the Maker Studio stencil, this is going to look like a high-end piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit that there, and now I'm going to take this part of the stencil, the one with the pumpkin that says gather, and it's got a wreath going around it. Again, you could use this wreath by itself and maybe keep it that way by itself, or put a monogram letter in the center, or just use the pumpkin by itself. Or you could even use the word gather by itself. So you can piece each stencil together and get more bang for your buck. That's a great idea when you just take parts of the stencil. So let me get it off of its backing. These are adhesive if you're new to the Maker Studio line of stencils. They're a tri-mesh adhesive stencil. It comes with a backing. And normally what we do is after I use this, we'll go run it under the water, and we will get all the product out of the mesh, and then it will be able to be reused a bunch of times. Cheryl's trying to see where I can, if I have that centered. It's always a different view from your side to my side. Just a little bit lower. Let's see. And then I will have it stenciled. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to make sure this is flush. All of our stencils. Just make sure they're flush with any surface that you're going to stencil. And it is adhesive, as you can see, no need for taping. And when you have a mesh stencil like this, there's so much detail rather than a plastic stencil. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the white gel art ink in Well I Declare. I'm just going to use one color because I think that with the stain and the pop of the gel art ink, it's going to make a statement piece. So I am going to take our spreader that I have cut into 2 pieces. I'm going to put a little bit of this on the spreader. Again, I like less is more. I also like to always start in the gray area when I hit the spreader to the surface and then push in. I prefer when I'm applying a stencil, if I need more product, I'll go get it. But if I don't, then I'm good to go. Because once you press this through the stencil, and you could see the color of the stencil change to the white color, because that's the color I used, you're good to go. Just keep mindful that you got it all done. If you see your surface color popping through, you know you missed a spot. And again, you could hear that noise of the stencil being scraped, or the spreader being scraped on the stencil, moving that product through the stencil. I'm going to add a little bit more, and I'm going to go ahead and do the pumpkin. This pumpkin has so much detail, and you're going to be able to see it even more so because I used the gel stain and I'm using the white gel art ink. The contrast is phenomenal, and you'll be able to see all the little intricate lines that are in the stencil. So just making sure that I can get it all passed through the mesh. I'm just looking to see if any of the stain is shining through, which would mean that I missed a spot. The spreaders are washable. I'm going to put that right into my water bath, and I'm going to lift the stencil. This is the favorite part. This is my favorite part, when you always see how fabulous the product, the stencil looks on your project. Look at that detail. Now remember, this was just a $5 surface from Target. Again, I'm going to take this mesh stencil and I'm going to put it into a water bath over here. Now, normally I would get up and go wash it under a sink, clean all the product out of it. You just have to manipulate it a little bit with your hand and then lay it sticky side up on a clean cloth. Let it dry. Then you would put it back on its backing and slide it back into the sleeve. So there you go. Simple and easy, Lazy Susan, $5. Paired with the Maker Studio stencils. Now look at all that detail in that pumpkin. Again, you could use this wreath by itself. You could use the pumpkin part of the stencil by itself. So I just want to show you one more project that I'm going to do. Now remember, I still have all these pieces from the stencil that can be used to make some fabulous decor pieces. But what I'm going to do is, see this little part? It says, what are you thankful for today? Right? So what I did is I went and cut out a little piece of brown paper, about a 7" by 1 3/4. You could do 7 inches by 2 inches too. If you don't have brown paper, what you can do is go ahead and use like a brown paper bag, and that would work just as well for your surface. I'm gonna put this kind of centered in there, right over that piece of paper. Now I'm going to take the brown gel art ink and the Well I Swanee, another little part of the spreader, just get a little bit on there. I'm not going to use the leaves. I'm just going to use the wording that says, what are you thankful for? Just making sure it goes through to the other side, the stencil, and get the color that I want, which is the brown, onto the surface, which in this case was just brown paper. They do sell it in rolls. Like I said, if you don't have it, you can always use a brown paper bag, cut 7 inches by 1 3/4 or even 2 inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pull that off. Again, this is going to go in my water bath along with my other stencils so that when I get off the live, I can go run it under water. I'm going to hit this with a heat gun because I do need to manipulate this. So see how much detail was in there? There's a lot of detail in the font of this particular stencil. So it says, what are you thankful for today? Again, if you're just hopping on, go ahead, tag 3 friends and share this to your Facebook page, and you'll be in the drawing to win this fabulous stencil. Very, very cute stencil with a lot of different stencils in it. So see, that's what I have now. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a napkin. Now you could use any napkin. I just happen to be using a green napkin. You know, we have upcoming holiday seasons coming, and this is a really fun project. So I'm just going to go like that. Then what I'm going to do is I have some little glue dots, or you can actually use hot glue. I'm going to take a little glue dot. I'm actually going to take 2, and I'm going to put them right here. And right here on the end. And then I'm going to wrap this around this napkin. And look what we have. We have a fabulous DIY napkin ring holder that says, what are you thankful for today? Wouldn't that look fabulous on your Thanksgiving table or any gathering that you have? They have to read that. And wouldn't it make a great conversation piece to, you know, start a conversation? What are you thankful for? So 2 little projects I did with this stencil. It's a fabulous stencil. And don't forget, if you just hopped on, tag 3 friends and share it so you can be in the drawing for it. So thank you guys for letting me come over here on this page. I'm Cheryl from Home of My Making on the Facebook side of my, I have my own page over there. So come and join me over there and go create something fun.